The stars in Sector 9G were quiet. Nothing had happened there for 100 years. No trade ships, no pirates, just silence. Then, it came. A strange, broken signal. Weak, full of static, but one word was clear. Earth. Commander Vec of the Zenthor patrol fleet sat in his command chair, eyes locked on the screen. His second officer Vura replayed the signal again. Are you sure it's human? Vekel asked, his long black eyes narrowing. Vera nodded. Yes, sir. It matches human language frequencies. A distress call. Very old dash style. Like from the early space age. But humans have no right to be this deep in our galaxy, said, confused. No one from Earth is allowed beyond Zone Border 4. I agree, Vera said. And yet, here it is. They both listened again, the same crackling voice, full of pain and fear. This is Earth vessel Helios-9. Requesting. Assistance. Double quotes. Commander Vekel stood. Wake the council. Tell them we may have a breach. The council debates in the Grand Hall of Zareth Prime. 12 alien leaders from different races met to discuss the signal. Humans, in our galaxy. Said High Seer Kroll, leader of the Vitari. Impossible. They don't have the power to reach this far. Unless they do, whispered General Threx of the Jelana, eyes wide with worry. What if we underestimated them? The room grew cold. Ambassador Thiel of the Ruhan people looked at the screen. A single human ship. One old distress signal. We are not at war. Why should we care? The silence stretched. Then, the youngest voice in the room, Councillor Mira of the Ilzen, spoke. Because humans don't send distress signals this deep without a reason, something is wrong. We need to know what. After a long pause, the council voted. Decision. Send a scout ship. One only. Quiet. Observe. Do not engage. The scout mission. The scout ship Zoltri moved like a shadow, gliding through the cold void. It reached the coordinates quietly, hiding behind asteroids and moons. Inside, pilot Saran tapped his console. I have visual. There's a ship. Floating. No energy signs. No life detected. Captain Yala stepped closer to the screen. The ship was old human design. Damaged. Dead. Run full scan. She ordered. Saran frowned. It's empty. No crew. No bodies. Just. Darkness. Board it, Yala said. They sent a team in. The halls were silent. Lights flickered. Rust covered the walls. No logs. No answers. Only one thing was found on a wall near the bridge. Scratched in blood-red paint. We are not the same anymore. Something is watching as the Zoltri prepared to return. Saran's sensors lit up. Captain, something is moving behind the third moon. Everyone turned to the screen. At first, it looked like shadows. But then the shadows moved. One ship, then another, then 10, then 100. Captain Yala's voice trembled. By the stars. Those are human warships. Thousands of them. The crew stood frozen. A whole fleet silent, motionless, and deadly now hovered in front of them. And none of them had fired. No. Escape, Captain. Yala tried to call command. No response. The humans had jammed their signal. We need to leave, Saran whispered. But as the Zoltri turned, one message came through. Just 3 words. From the human fleet. Simple. Cold. You found us. Then the Zoltri vanished from all systems. Gone. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. Panic in the council. News reached the council in seconds. The scout ship is lost. We have no visual on the human fleet. They are cloaked again. The room filled with fear. This was not just a ship. It was not even a small fleet. It was an army. High Seer Kroll slammed his fist on the table. How long have they been here? How did they enter our space without detection? Councillor Mira whispered. They didn't just enter. They've been waiting. Earth's silence. The Galactic News tried to contact Earth's. No response. The Terran Union sent only one message. Do not interfere. No explanation. No warning. Just a clear threat. Across the galaxy, panic spread. Military fleets were raised, shields activated, embassies evacuated, but no one knew what the humans wanted. They didn't move. They didn't speak. They just watched, hidden past in a secret archive. Councillor Mira searched old war records. She found something strange. Decades ago, during a small border conflict, a Ruhan patrol ship fired on a strange unknown vessel near Zone Border 4. It was marked Helios-9, the same ship from the signal. Back then they assumed it was a smuggler. No big deal. No one knew it was human. And no one knew that inside were over 3,000 human colonists, civilians, families, children heading to a secret colony Earth was building. That colony was destroyed, covered up, forgotten. Until now. Aboard the command ship of the Terran fleet, Admiral Reeve looked out at the stars. His officers stood in silence. A hologram showed the alien scout ship's scan. They had seen too much. They know now, his first officer said. Reeve nodded. Good, let them fear. He gave one order. Activate Phase 1. All 10,000 warships lit up. Engines roared. Weapons powered. Humanity was no longer hiding. They were here, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy had known peace for over 80 years. Trade flowed. Treaties held. The great empires believed war was a thing of the past. But now, something ancient had returned, and it was angry. A flicker in the stars from the outer edges of Sector 9G. Strange readings began to appear on scanners. In dozens of systems, sensors picked up massive objects then lost them. Civilian ships vanished. Communications were blocked. Power grids flickered. Military leaders called it sensor malfunction, but some knew better. They had seen it once when humanity first entered space. The flicker meant only one thing. Human stealth warships were near. Diplomatic panic on the peaceful world of Veltron 5. The Galactic Council met againly this time. They weren't calm. They're here. In our systems. Shut down, jump, gates. Lock the borders. We must talk to Earth. Ambassador Thiel of the Ruhan raised his voice. We send a peace envoy. Let's not make this worse. But General Threx slammed his metal hand on the table. You don't understand. This isn't an invasion, it's an execution. The council voted quickly. A diplomatic fleet of 3 ships would be sent to the last known location of the human fleet. Peace offer. The diplomatic fleet reached Sector 9G within hours. 3 golden ships. Lights flashing with the colors of peace. Their message was clear. Broadcast on all known human frequencies. We come in peace. We regret what happened in the past. Let us talk. The alien diplomats waited. 1 hour. 2. No answer. Then something moved. The sky breaks open. A ripple appeared above them, like the stars themselves were cracking. And then it came, a human dreadnought, massive, dark, covered in armor that looked like ancient stone and burning steel. It didn't send a message, it just hovered above them, silent. The lead diplomat, a Trivan named Oroses, opened a final channel. We are here to talk, please speak. The human dreadnought side opened, not for a transmission but to release 10 smaller attack ships, fast, sharp, deadly. They surrounded the alien ships in seconds. Then one word was transmitted in a flat, synthetic human voice: leave. A fatal mistake. The alien diplomats panicked. They begged. They turned to flee. That was the mistake. As soon as the ships turned, the dreadnought fired. One golden ship vaporized instantly. Another tried to run but was torn apart by RAILGUNS. Only one ship escaped airily and sent the footage to the council. What they saw shocked them. Human warships were using weapons the galaxy had never seen before. Quiet, fast, impossible to block. There was no negotiation, that there was only silence, and then fire. Humanity speaks for the first time in 40 years. Earth opened communication with the Galactic Council. Admiral Reeve appeared. His eyes were cold, his uniform plain. Behind him stood the Terran flag, black and silver. He said only this: you destroyed our people, you erased their names. We gave you peace. You gave us silence. Now, you will understand what silence truly means. The message ended. No reply was accepted. The human fleet began moving planetfall. The first human target was a small military world. Zen THRA-3. Well defended. Shields, weapons, orbital cannons. They prepared for battle. They never stood a chance. At 0300 hours, the sky split in half. Thousands of human ships poured through a hidden wormhole created by technology the galaxy had never seen. Within minutes, Zenthra 3's orbital defenses were gone. The surface trembled as massive kinetic rods simple. Heavy metal launched at near light speed hit military bases. There was no battle. There was no mercy. The planet was disabled in 10 minutes. Message in ash after the smoke cleared. A probe dropped from a human ship onto the ruins of Zen THRA-3.3. It played a simple message in over 100 languages. This is only the beginning. The probe self-destructed. Alien coalition forms back on Zareth Prime. The council screamed for answers. How did they travel so far, so fast? Why didn't our sensors detect them? Where did they get this power? No one had answers. Only fear. General Threx stood. We must unite a multi-race defense force. The humans are not coming. They are already here. An emergency military coalition was created. 50,000 alien ships from dozens of systems. But they were late. Eyes in the dark across the galaxy. People looked to the stars. Some saw distant flashes, others felt power outages, strange weather, or ghost signals on their screens. And some saw ships watching from above, not attacking, not talking, just watching and waiting, back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, in a command bunker. Leaders watched the events unfold. President Kalin of the Terran Union stood beside Admiral Reeve. "Do they understand now?" she asked. Reeve didn't smile. He just stared at the glowing map of enemy systems. "They will." President Kalin turned to the AI assistant beside her. "Deploy Phase 2. Select the next targets." "Yes, Madam President," it replied. "Operation Ashes of Silence is now active." Final scene. The next victim, a peaceful world. Lanthis 4 lay quiet under a blue sky. Families walked in green parks. Children played under two suns. Suddenly, the sky dimmed. A shadow passed over the sun, then another dot and another. People looked up and saw it. A wall of human ships. Island. Black UNCOUNTABL. Just hovering, one word echoed from the sky, broadcast into every mind. "Remember Helios 9, then the world went dark." For centuries, the galaxy had watched Earth. They laughed, they ignored, they labeled humans as weak, slow to evolve, emotionally unstable, technologically behind. But that was their first mistake. Their last mistake was letting humanity grow in the shadows. The ranking system. Long ago, the Galactic Council created the Threat Index, a chart that measured each species by danger level. It considered things like technology, fleet power, aggression, population, and potential for war. Earth was placed at the very bottom. Threat level 2 out of 10, too emotional, too primitive, too divided. Let them play with their toys. The council once joked, "They will never rise." A visit from the past. Counselor Mira stood alone in the old archives. Dust filled the air, screens flickered, with ancient reports, many now deleted, but she found one, a scout mission, dated 47 years ago. Mission: Observe Earth. The report was short. Species shows low threat. Focuses on war history. Still believes in myths. Shows strange emotional behavior. Conclusion: not a galactic concern. The report ended with a laugh. Literally. A voice recording. "Earth is full of angry monkeys. With sticks." Mira listened to it twice. Then she whispered, "They weren't monkeys. They were watching the broken timeline while the galaxy enjoyed peace. Earth was busy. Very busy. They stopped sending messages. They stopped joining trade programs. They pulled back ambassadors. Most thought Earth had collapsed into chaos. But the truth was worse. Earth had gone silent on purpose. They were building. They were training. They were planning. And they never forgot what happened to Helios 9. What they didn't see on hidden planets. Earth built shipyards, underground. They trained children in strategy and survival from age 7. They developed weapons that didn't just destroy but erased matter. And they created AIs that could lead entire wars without sleep. But most of all, they learned how to cloak entire fleets. The galaxy thought it was watching Earth, but Earth was watching the galaxy back, and recording everything. The weak species in military training on Zahn Prime. Alien soldiers studied species behaviors. They learned that humans were unstable. They cry too much, they fight each other, need meaning. But one instructor, Commander Vex, taught something different. He showed them a video. A single human soldier, carrying his wounded friend on his back, walking through a battlefield of fire for 5 hours, just to save one life. Commander Vex pointed at the screen. "That is not weakness," he said. "That is danger." No one listened to him. Now, they all remembered his words. Too late. Human psychology misunderstood. Aliens thought humans were broken. They didn't understand war for family, or fighting for those already dead. They didn't understand revenge that lasts generations. They didn't understand that when Earth was silent, it wasn't defeated, it was focused. The revelation in a panic. The Galactic Council reran the threat calculation. They added Earth's new fleet power, advanced weapons, stealth systems, AI command, and mental resilience. The result shocked them. Threat level 11 out of 10 does not obey known military logic, capable of mass destruction with little warning, driven by memory and emotion, highly unpredictable. But the line that chilled the room was this: species has moved from prey to apex predator. The Museum of Mistakes on Earth, deep inside a black mountain, there was a room called the Memory Hall. Inside were holograms of every human killed in the Helios 9 incident, families, children, scientists. Each name was burned into a wall made of stone. Admiral Reeve stood there, silent. A young officer entered. "Admiral, the alien capital ships are preparing to meet us at Titan Gate." Reeve nodded. Are they sending peace signals again? Yes, sir. Reeve looked at the names on the wall. Then he spoke, quietly. No more signals, no more waiting. He turned. Prepare the fleet. Time for them to meet the ones they called weak. Alien regret on Zareth Prime. Panic spread. Cities held protests. People shouted, why did we mock Earth? News anchors cried on live broadcasts. Every world that once laughed at humans was now preparing to fight them, but they didn't know where to aim. But the humans were already inside their systems, already watching, already choosing their next target. Final scene, humanity's eyes everywhere. On a quiet moon in the Selkar system, a young alien boy looked up at the night sky. He saw a new star, bright still. He called for his parents. They looked through the scope and froze. It wasn't a star, it was a warship. Human. It had been there the whole time, watching, and below the ship's symbol was a new human phrase translated into every known language. The galaxy made a mistake. Now, we correct it. There was no declaration. No music. No warning. Just darkness. Then death. One by one it started small. A listening post in the Thon Belt went offline. The next day, a mining station on Yellow-6 vanished. No wreckage, no signal. By the end of the week 5 more stations were gone. The galaxy called it technical errors. They said, maybe pirates. But the smart ones were already afraid. They knew what it was. Humanity had started the war, and they weren't fighting like anyone expected. No explosions, just silence. Human warships didn't arrive with noise. They didn't attack from the front. They slipped into systems like ghosts. They cut power, erased data, jammed signals, and moved on. They didn't destroy planets, not yet. They just made things disappear. A city would go dark, then nothing, not even a scream. The rule of 3, every time an alien fleet tried to respond, they followed the same pattern. Step 1, scan the system. No enemies detected. Step 2, move closer to investigate. Step 3, lights flicker and everything goes black. No survivors, no distress calls, just silence. Some started calling it the Rule of 3. General Threx's plant. The Galactic Council had enough. General Threx gathered a massive defense fleet, over 8,000 ships, and placed them in the Shadri cluster, near several civilian planets. He believed the humans would strike their next. He was right. But he still lost a lesson in less. Ships were powerful. Their weapons were advanced. Their positioning was perfect, but they never saw the humans coming. The attack began with their own ships firing on each other, hijacked by human eyes. Their navigation systems failed. Their communications jammed. By the time they understood what was happening, half the fleet was already burning. The humans revealed themselves only at the end. 5 dreadnoughts, uncloaked in perfect silence. Each one sent a short message. You taught us silence. We mastered it. Broken trust. Civilians across the galaxy panicked. They stopped trusting their governments. If even the strongest fleets couldn't stop the humans, what hope was left? Entire populations fled from border planets. Some begged Earth for mercy, but Earth did not reply. Spy reporting. A dark briefing room. The Ruhan intelligence director read the latest findings to his leaders. His voice trembled. The human fleet isn't working like normal armies. It is a coordinated web. Every ship is connected. Every move is calculated. They have no weak points, no known limits. He paused. And worst of all, they are not using full power. This is only a test. Inside a human ship, inside the Terran dreadnought Iron Will, Admiral Reeve stood before a wall-sized display. Red dots showed every system that had gone silent. Blue dots marked systems being watched. There were hundreds. Beside him, AI Commander Lyra reported calmly. Sector 14 neutralized. Civilian damage minimal. No response from alien leadership. Reeve nodded. Continue observation. Keep pressure. No full strikes yet. Understood. Strategic mercy. Earth wasn't just killing. They were choosing who lived. Some planets were shut down but untouched. Others lost power and were left in fear. Some were warned with silent FLYOVs. It was calculated. Terra Earth wanted the galaxy to collapse from the inside, and it was working. Message found on the dead world of Zentafor. A surviving drone broadcast a message written in the dirt near a crater. We asked for peace. You answered with fire. Now, we answer with silence. The turning point in the heart of the galaxy, the last safe region known as Core Ring B, became a fortress. All ships were recalled, defenses activated. Civilian traffic was shut down. The Council believed humans couldn't break through. They were wrong. One morning, the sky above Core Ring turned black. Not from ships. But from shadows. A fleet of unmanned Terran stealth drones had entered their airspace. Days ago they blocked the sun, they hovered, and did nothing. That was the message. Even your strongest walls are already inside. A cold commander back on Earth. Reeve received a personal message from President Kalen. Why don't we strike the core ring now? Reeve looked into the camera. They aren't scared enough yet. He turned to Lyra. Show me the list. A screen appeared. 117 systems. All marked. Already. Reeve gave the order. Phase 3 begins. Let them feel hunted. Final scene. Nowhere is safe on the peaceful waterworld of Thela Ix. A fishing boat floated under the stars. A small child pointed up. Papa, what's that star doing? The father looked up. The star blinked. Then it moved. Slowly, silently, straight, down. It hovered above the ocean for a moment, then vanished without sound. A single message appeared in the sky, in glowing blue letters. You forgot us, but we remember everything. The war had lasted 91 days, not years, not centuries, just 91 days. And in that time, Earth had done what no one believed possible. It broke the galaxy. The last standover. 300 alien species had joined the United Defense Pact. Old enemies became allies. Ancient grudges were put aside. A final fleet was formed, the largest in galactic history. Over 70,000 ships. Their mission, defend the core ring, the capital region of the Galactic Council. All or nothing. They waited. Scouts were posted. Sensors doubled. Mines placed across space, cloaked sentries, watched every jump gate, and then the waiting began. 1 day, nothing. 2 days, silence. On the 3rd day, something changed. The stars disappeared, one by one. Stars began to dim. First in the north sector, then west. Then above the central defense wall. Panic spread. Their fleet is blocking starlight. No, it's not just ships. Something else is happening. Then the first human ship uncloaked. Not one. Thousands. The silent battle. There was no warning shot. The humans didn't speak. They just moved, like a black wave, crashing over steel. Every alien fleet opened fire. Missiles, plasma beams, antimatter rounds. They lit the sky, but nothing hit. Human ships dodged, warped, cloaked, and struck with surgical precision. Each Terran vessel chose one enemy and removed it. No waste, no chaos, only control. Inside the core ring, the council chamber shook. Councilor Mira stared at the live feed. Thousands of dreadnoughts breaking through the last defense line. Her voice cracked. It's over. High Seer Crawl whispered. We called them weak. No one answered. Because outside the sound of silence grew louder. One last broadcast. Admiral Elias Reeve stood aboard the Invictus, watching the galactic capital burn slowly in orbit. He opened a channel one last time to every system, every screen, every surviving ship. His voice was low, calm, tired. This is not conquest. This is not revenge. This is memory. You erased our children. You buried our names. And for 40 years, you ignored our silence. Now, you will live with it. He paused, then said, we will not rule you. We will not enslave you. But we will watch forever. Forget us again, and the silence will return. Then he ended the war. Reeve gave a single order. All Terran ships shut down weapons. Engines cooled. Every dreadnought stopped, not because they were defeated, but because they had made their point. The galaxy had not just lost a war, it had gained a watcher. Earth would never again be ignored. Rebuilding in shadow. Months later, planets began to rebuild. Trade resumed, power returned, but every system knew. Humans were still out there. Watching. Sometimes a ship would vanish, sometimes a planet's power grid would shut off for hours, then return. No message, just a reminder. You are never alone. The new galaxy. In every major world now a statue stands, a single child holding a flag that reads, Helios 9, we remember, underneath a plaque, in memory of the 3004 lost to silence. No one touches those statues, not out of fear, but respect, because now the galaxy knows what Earth is, not monsters, not conquerors. Just witnesses. Final scene. One man, one memory, in a quiet garden on Mars. Admiral Reeve walked alone. Old grey quiet. He sat beneath a tree and opened an old device. It played a recording, a child's voice, his brother Leo. I can't wait to see the stars, Elias. I'll tell you all about them when I come back. Reeve closed his eyes, whispered, you never had to. I brought the stars to you. And then the screen faded to black. The galaxy fell silent. But this time, it understood. Long before Earth sent 10,000 warships into the stars, long before the galaxy whispered in fear, there was only silence. A silence filled with pain, betrayal and memory, buried truth deep inside the burned ruins of a galactic archive on Varnix 12. A small alien recovery team searched for surviving data. Among the ashen metal, they found something strange. An old black cube. It was cracked, dusty, and glowing faint red. They brought it back when they turned it on. A hologram appeared, human faces, children, smiling. A voice played behind the images. Helios 9 colony transport. Earth's future begins here. The aliens froze. It was the lost ship. The ship everyone said never existed. The truth could no longer be hidden. 3,000 Sol Helios 9 was not a warship, it was a peaceful colony, slow, unarmed. Inside were over 3,000 civilians, families, scientists, engineers, teachers. All on their way to establish Earth's first deep space colony, but it never arrived. A border patrol ship, Ruhan military, had picked up Helios 9's weak signal, thinking it was a threat. They opened fire without warning. The humans never had a chance, and then the Ruhan covered it up. They erased the report. No punishment, no apology, no apology. The galaxy forgot, but Earth did not. A quiet collapse on Earth. News of the massacre was kept secret from the public. Only the highest officials knew. President Ava Greer of the Terran Union was one of them. She watched the footage in silence. Children screaming, fire in the corridors. A final message, lost in static. This is Helios 9. We are not soldiers. Please. And then silence. Forever. Greer gave a simple order. No war, no message, no noisy. Prepari. Project Ghostfire in secret. Earth launched its darkest plan. Project Ghostfire. The goal was simple. Make sure the galaxy never ignored Earth again. They began building not for defense, but for vengeance. Ships that moved without being seen. Weapons no shield could stop. Eyes that could think, learn, and feel rage. And most important of all, time. Earth waited. 10 years. Then 20, then 30, building, watching, learning, until the galaxy forgot they even existed. That's when Earth knew it was time. The woman who waited, President Ava Greer, died before the plan was finished, but she left behind a message, sealed to be opened when the fleets were ready. Her granddaughter, now President Kalen, opened it on the day the Terran warships launched. The message said, "Don't strike out of hate. Strike so they never forget again. Make them remember every name. Every child, every cry, show them silence, and then make it scream. Names of the lost inside every Terran ship. There is a wall. It holds the names of the Helios 9 passengers, 3,004 names, engraved in black steel. Every soldier touches that wall. Before battle. Every captain swears to protect it. Because this war is not about territory, it's about memory and justice. The moment it began, Admiral Reeve was just a young lieutenant when Helios 9 was destroyed. His younger brother was on that ship. Every night since, he dreamt of fire and silence. When he became fleet commander, he said nothing to the press. No speeches, only a whisper, spoken to himself. We asked for peace. They gave us fire. Now, we give it back. Inside the council, when the council received the recovered Helios 9 recording, they were stunned. Even the most warlike species sat in silence. Children's faces stared back at them. Some wept, others looked down, and High Seer Kroll finally spoke. We killed them, not by lasers, but by forgetting. Apologies mean nothing. A group of alien leaders prepared a message for Earth. We are sorry. We understand now. Please stop. But before they could send it, a new message appeared on their screens. It was from Earth. Admiral Reeves stood alone in shadow, his face calm. Voice like ice. Apology accepted. Punishment continues. The beast wakes in the dead systems where Earth once watched and waited. Thousands of ships now burn bright. Don't more hiding, don't more whispers. The sleeping beast is fully awake, and it is not here to talk. It is here to finish what the galaxy started. Final scene. The Pulse in a quiet observation post. 2 alien scientists sit staring at deep space sensors. Suddenly, all instruments spike. Something is coming. Fast. They check the star maps. Nothing visible, but one signal keeps repeating, over and over, inside their machines. Not in words. Just a sound, a heartbeat, steady, cold, human, thump, 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 thump. And then silence. High above the gas planet Solaru 7, the Terran dreadnought Invictus hung in the sky like a dark moon. It didn't move. It didn't need to, because inside, the man who led 10,000 warships was already thinking 5 steps ahead. His name was Admiral Elias Reeve, and he had waited his whole life for this war. The personal login, a quiet room inside the Invictus. Reeve sat alone, no officers, no orders, only a blinking red light. He spoke slowly, into a recorder. Admiral's log, entry 5822. Day 43 of Phase 3. Enemy losses of in. He paused, then added, "Sometimes I wonder if we've become what we feared." He looked out the window where thousands of Terran ships floated, perfectly still. No movement, no light, just shadows, in formation. Waiting. Memory of fire. Reeve remembered the day he heard about Helios-9. He was 18 years old, fresh in training, young, hopeful. His brother Leo had been accepted as a civilian engineer for a new colony, a great honor, but then the message came: colony ship Helios-9 lost. All passengers presumed dead. No reasons, no answers. Just silence. Later, Reeve found the truth in a buried military report. Shot down, mistaken, identity. No survivors. And no justice. That was the day Elias Reeve changed, cold but calculated to others. Reeve looked almost robotic, but inside he burned with purpose. He trained harder than anyone, scored higher, rose through ranks without help, not because he wanted medals, but because he wanted control. If he ever faced the galaxy again, he wouldn't trust politicians, he wouldn't beg for respect, he would command it with steel. Inside the war room aboard the Invictus was silent, except for the humming of data screens. Officers moved with quiet focus, no shouting, no panic. Each one trained to obey without question. At the center stood Reeve, watching a red holographic map of the galaxy. Over 80 red dots glowed, systems neutralized by Terran fleets. Reeve whispered, still too slow, "We need the rest of the galaxy to understand. This is not about territory, it's about memory." The philosophy of Warren, like many leaders, Reeve didn't see war as glory. To him, it was math. Numbers. Patterns. Patience. In his private log, he once wrote, "A war, won with noise is short. A war won with silence never has to be fought again." No need to celebrate after each victory. Other empires would cheer, hold parades, raise flags, not Earth. Terran crews didn't clap, they didn't speak. They stood in front of the wall of names. The 3,000 for victims of Helios-9 read aloud 10 names each, then returned to duty. That was the ritual, and Reeve followed it too. Every single time a glimpse of humanity. One officer once asked him quietly, "Sir, do you ever sleep?" Reeve looked at her and said, "I don't need to sleep when I remember what they did to my brother." But later that night, in private, Reeve sat alone in his quarters. He opened an old message, a video of Leo, his brother, smiling and waving goodbye before boarding. Helios-9. Reeve stared at the screen. Tears didn't come. Not anymore, only silence. A world spared sometimes. Reeve made strange choices. One world, Ilvara, was expected to be erased. But when the fleet arrived, they found statues built in honor of Helios-9. Thousands of alien children gathered around them in silence. The message said, "We know we were not the ones who killed them, but we swear, we will never forget." Reeve watched the footage, then gave a rare command, "Leave them in peace," and the fleet turned away. Internal conflict. His AI assistant, Lyra, once asked, "Admiral, do you seek peace?" He answered, "Not peace, not war, just memory." Then he added, "When the last star forgets what was done to us, we will still remember, and that's enough." The next phase. Back in the war room, Reeve updated his strategy. 3 new targets. He didn't choose them randomly. Each was connected to the Helios cover-up systems where the truth was hidden, where lies were written. Now they would be erased. Lyra announced, "Target lock, fleet movements synchronized." Awaiting command. Reeve nodded once. "Execute." The ghost fleet moves across the galaxy. Shadows came alive. From asteroid belts, gas clouds, empty space Terran ships appeared. They didn't fire at first. They hovered. Watched. Then moved with quiet purpose. Within minutes, entire command networks were cut. No alarms, no warnings, just gone. The galaxy now whispered a new name, the Ghost Fleet. A message sent this time. Earth sent a message before the strike. Not a threat, not a warning, just a recording of a child's voice from Helios-9. "We're going to a new world. I hope it has green skies." I packed my favorite book. Then static. And silence. Then the attack began. Final scene. A thought back in his quarters. Admiral Reeve added one last log entry. "We are not monsters. We are the answer to forgotten." Screams if they remember, truly remember. Maybe we won't need to finish this. He looked into the stars. and whispered one last thing, too soft for the recorder. "Forgive me, Leo."